Good morning, student. AGR 204, Farming System and Sustainability Agriculture Development. Today, we are going to discuss about the crop rotation. What do you mean by the crop rotation? Crop rotations, it is refers to the recurrent succession of crops on the same piece of land, either in a year or over a period of time. That is what you mean by the crop rotation. The crop can be rotated. The பயிர் சுழற்சி முறை அப்படின்னா ஒரு பீஸ் ஆஃப் லேண்டில் ஒரு இயர் இல்லைன்னா மோர் தேன் இயர் ஒரு க்ராப்பை வந்து கல்டிவேட் பண்ணிட்டு அடுத்த க்ராப்பை மாற்றி கல்டிவேட் பண்ணுறது. ஸோ இந்த மாதிரி பயிர் சுழற்சி முறை பண்ணுறதுனால வாட் வில் ஹேப்பன் we will discuss later. So repeated cultivation of crops and follow in certain sequence on the same land is called crop rotation. So what are the principles followed in crop rotations? We'll discuss one by one. The first principle is, first we have to cultivate the leguminous crops followed by the non-leguminous crops. Why? So in the piece of land, first you have to cultivate cereals. What are the cereals? Paddy, wheat, maize, whatever it may be, have to cultivate first these cereals. Then second crop, that's the second year also you cultivate the same wheat, maize, paddy, cultivated again and again the same crop of the cereal. What will happen? The cereal crops are absorb more nitrogen from the soil. So what will happen? The soil fertility automatically lose their fertility. So the soil fertility will lost. So instead of that, you have to cultivate leguminous crops. After that, you have to cultivate the non-leguminous crops also. Particularly the leguminous crops. What are the leguminous crops? The pulses, the green gram. These are the pulses crops can be cultivated along with the non-leguminous crops. So the green grams like the pulses gram can able to fix the nitrogen from the atmosphere and store it in their nodules. So in these nitrogen will be converted as a nitrogen nutrition in the soil. So it will help to the succeeding crops. So the first principle is how to cultivate the leguminous crops along with the non-leguminous crops. The second principle is the exhaustive crops are grown alternatively in their cropping pattern. Exhaustive crops means higher exhaustive and less exhaustive. Some crops are, what do you mean by the exhaustive? Is absorption, uptake of more nutrients by the plant during in the cropping pattern. So if it is absorbed higher nutrients, what will happen? The soil may lose their fertility. So the next crops, if you are cultivating the same higher exhaustion crop, what will happen? The plant will not get the sufficient nutrients. So you have to choose the crop like higher exhaustive crops and lower less exhaustive crops. So what are the higher exhaustive crops? Potato sugar cane. If you are cultivating potato sugar cane, it absorb more nutrients, uptake more nutrients from the soil. So what will happen? The soil automatically lose their fertility. So the next crop, we are suggested to the less exhaustive crops. What are the less exhaustive crops? Oil seeds, pulses. So it will absorb the low nutrients from the soil, uptake low nutrients from the atmosphere, as well as it is absorb the nitrogen fixation from the atmosphere also. So this is the second principle. Alternative exhaustive of the crops is the second principle. And the third one is the taproot system as well as the fibrous system. So you have to choose the crop, both the taproot as well as the fibrous systems in the field. So what are the taproot system crops? Taproot system is a paddy. So the paddy crop, what will happen? It will absorb the nutrients uptake from the deep soil, the bottom layer of the soil. So if it is in a fibrous crops, they absorb the nutrients from the top soils only. So you have to choose the crop like that. What are all the taproot crops? What are all the fibrous crops? So for example, the rice and pigeon bee crop. Paddy is a taprooted, and pigeon bee crops is the fibrous one. So you have to with the combination of these two, the nutrients will be balanced in the soil, so the soil fertility will be maintenance one. And the fourth principle is, if you are cultivating the pasture or fodder crops along with your main crop, what will happen? It will supposed to help the animals in the farm. If you are having any livestock, cattle or whatever it may be, so these fodder crops will be support to the farm in the animal crops. So for rice, black gram, fodder sorghum, fodder maize will be cultivated along with the, our main crop of rice. So the fourth principle. And the fifth principles, when they are cultivating the slopy land, you have to cultivate the slopy land. What will happen? The erosion and erosion control measures should be taken. So some of the crops like maize, this is a erosion promoting crops, and green gram is erosion resisting crops. So I have to cultivate the maize along with the green gram. What will happen? The erosion promoting and erosion resisting also take place in the same time. Under the next, then some other points also, some of the crops are flood tolerant, some of the crops are dry tolerant, drought tolerant. So if there is no rain, then what will happen? The plant cannot be survival, the crop cannot be survival. So I have to choose the crop for whether it is a dry tolerant. If it is more rain coming, more rain will come or more rain occur, then I have to choose the flood crops, flood tolerant crops. So I have to choose the crop of drought tolerant as well as the flood tolerant. That's another principles. Like that, some important principles are followed during the crop rotation period. And the same family should not be cultivated again and again in the same period. What will happen? The same family, it will be the coast crop for the pest and disease of the existing one. So if the same family should not be cultivated in the field again and again in the crop rotation period. And the selection of crops need to be the persons of those persons that the farmers need. So based on their need, the crops should be selected. So it will be benefit out of it. The farmer or the farming community may get benefit out of it. So these are all some principles of the crop rotations. What are the advantages? The advantages of crop rotation, what will happen? The land will be used efficiently, and the land organic matter also used effectively, and the farmers get a good yield from the soil, so from the crop, and the farmers get more income, and the farmers has a diversified income. The farmers can get a good income throughout the year. So a lot of advantages available in this crop rotation. And what are the different types of different patterns of the crop rotations is there? Some importance is there. One is the cotton plus groundnut is crop rotation will be there, and rice gram, that's either green gram or black gram, like that. And sunflower, potato, and groundnut also cultivated. Sorghum, wheat, green gram can be cultivated. Sannam, sugar cane, and groundnut also cultivated in this crop. And this type of cultivation either in 1 year or 2 year or 3 year. So each year having different recommended for different rotations of crops. For example, the 1 year maize followed by mustard can be cultivated. The second year on the second crop on the rice, wheat on the second cultivate பண்ணலாம். பண்ண maize பண்ணலாம், maize கூட சேர்ந்து mustard or rice or wheat. This is a 1 year rotation period you can recommend it. And the 2 year recommended on the maize, mustard, sugar cane வந்து cultivate பண்ணலாம். Then maize, potato, sugar cane and peas, it can be cultivated, these crops also. 3 years on the rice, wheat, moong, mustard, sugar cane வந்து cultivate பண்ணலாம். So these are all the different types of crop rotations. And today so far we discussed about crop rotations and principle of crop, what are the principles followed in the crop rotation, and what are the advantages, and what are the different types of crops recommended for the crop rotations. And I enclosed with this. I enclosed on lecture notes for the particular crop rotation, and I also enclosed on PDF file for crop geometry. Last class we lightly touch about the crop geometry. Today I enclose the PDF file for crop geometry. Please go through the crop geometry. In this crop geometry, it's define the crop geometry. What is define the crop geometry, and how we are going to be the method of sowing of the crops, method of sowing or method of transplanting the crop in the main field. So different method is there. Broadcasting method is there, dibbling method is there, sowing behind the plow. ஸோ உழவு ஓட்டிகிட்டு இருக்கும் பொழுது உழவோடு சேர்த்து ஹாவ் டு ப்ளவ் த சீட்ஸ் ஃபார் த கிரவுண்ட் சீட்ஸ் எல்லாம் கேன் sowing along with plow. And some broadcasting paddy when there is in a dry field, there is no irrigation facilities, only the rainfed irrigation possibilities is there. In that situation you have to broadcast the seed, and it's like in rainfed area, sorghum, maize, kambu, these crops are cultivated through the broadcasting methods only. And drill sowing, or make a hole and put it the seed one by one, is mostly suitable for vegetable crops. And the nursery transplantation, some crops are cultivated, the seeds are sowing in the nursery bed, and the nursery will the young crop growing in the nursery. After that the nursery plants will be transplanting into the main field, like paddy, some chili crops. Chilies nursery will be there, the chili nursery transplanting into the main field. Then the importance of the plant geometry. So a lot of information available in this PDF file. Please go through. And I also given questions for answer. Please submit the question and answer before the next theory class. With this I close this session. Thanks.